You know, I don't know your last name.
What?
I mean, I know it.
It's been 3 years.
I know it's Rich K.
Yeah. It's good enough, I guess.
Oh, no, it's, let's jack it up. It's like Kananapui?
Yeah.
No. It's not even close.
It's close.
No, what is it?
Phonetically, kind of. It's Kahakui.
We're here with, and then you say your name.
Richard Kahakui. Song leaders on side, please.
You're a founding mission team member?
Yep.
How many guys came with you when you came here?
The first day, there was 13 people.
Okay. And then the second day, there was more?
Some people trickled in with I think they just had work tie-ups, and then there was a couple that was having a baby too. So some people came in maybe a month or two later, but I think there was a total of 17?
17 within the first month.
17 or 18, yeah. 17,
Okay.
18.
And was this your first mission team?
Yes.
How long had you been a member of the church prior to joining the mission team?
Oh, a little more than 2 years.
So you'd been a disciple for more than 2 years in Hawaii. And then at some point, there was word that they were going to be sending people to Salt Lake City. So your nice tropical climate to a crazy climate.
Yep.
And why did somebody pick you, or did you choose to come?
The way it actually happened is one week they made an announcement that they needed to send, or they wanted to send 2 people. That was 1 week. And that week I told myself, oh, can't be me, because there's no way I'm going to Utah. And then 3 days later, I was approached by the couple that led our church, and they asked me and one other person if we wanted to go up for the mission team. My initial response was, can I think about that? It was not something I initially volunteered for.
You go to Utah, and you've been here for 4 years, 3 years?
3, almost 4.
So you've been here longer than when you were converted.
Yeah.
And then is your plan then, now that you've gotten a taste of traveling for the gospel and being a missionary and having admin skills, is your thought I'm going to do this again to another location? Or are you feeling like this one experience will be enough for however long it takes?
Yeah, I think for me, I would prefer to stay here longer than uproot and move places over and over again on rapid succession. But I'd be totally down to move again if I was asked to go somewhere else. But I do love it here. I've grown to love the people here, the families here. It feels like home.
So I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get into the mindset of somebody, the mindset of, I've just became a Christian. I have 2 years worth of experience. I don't really know how much I know. I get someplace, now I'm learning under fire.
Yeah.
Not only am I learning to be a Christian, I'm learning to do admin. I'm learning how to make a nonprofit.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to be a song leader. And so you're wearing all these hats. And now you're 6 years in your walk with God, or getting close to.
Yeah.
And so do you say, okay, do I take these 6 years and I go back home? Or do I take these 6 years and I say, you know what, maybe it is like a calling of mine now. I go someplace else.
I see what you're saying.
I don't even know if you've even thought this, but this is kind of what I always wondered what people are thinking.
Yeah, no, I've definitely, even when leaving, a lot of the people from our congregation back in Hawaii were, um, there was an expectation from some of the older local disciples for me personally, specifically, to return back and to play some role in the ministry out there. I think that just goes back to just Hawaii being a bit more open to their own people, rather than outside people. And to me, I totally want to return to Hawaii. I don't think where I'm at now is like, one, I need to return, or nor do I necessarily want to. I don't see much benefit besides, like, of course, like sharing with my family, being able to just be in their lives more. I think for sure now I'm definitely more willing to be on another mission team rather than, I think, the reluctance I might have had at first when I was asked to come out here, for sure. I think the only difference now is like, instead of, I think when I was asked, it was like I had a month and a half to prepare, versus now at that time I didn't have much to kind of like put in order to, for when I needed to move. But now it's like being a part of like admin and the song ministry, there's kind of like some things that I need to put in order if I'm to move on to a team before I can like just drop everything and like walk off and go participate with another mission team planting. I think I would need a little more time to kind of just prep somebody else to take over the role, because I think where we're at now, we just don't have enough people to just like drop things and move on. And I need to prep somebody for that or train them in something. Yeah.
You guys show up, there's no building, there's no welcoming party, you're learning everything on the fly. Did you feel that the group was prepared to start a church, or did you feel like it was more heart?
When I think of prepared, I think of skill sets, people have assets, people have experience. And I would say the only experienced people were probably the ministry couple who was leading the church at the time, and the individuals that they brought with them with the initial 13 group that came over, because some of them have moved around with the couple at the time and gone to other churches, and then they got here. The rest of us, I feel like we were all kind of new to everything. Thankfully, one guy had like some AV experience, so we had a little bit of that. One guy had like some music experience, so we had some songs in order and some visual audio in place. But beyond that, I would not say we were prepared. It's like, I don't think we ourselves really knew what was going on. To some degree, it's like we're trying to literally just figure it out. But I think it is for sure a heart, because we were willing to figure it out when we first got here, and figuring out how to like, how do we get an apartment in a place that we can't view? It's like, we just, go by, oh, maybe it'll work out, whatever. But I think definitely with a good heart and like just trusting God, it really worked out really nicely. At least for me, when I think about like moving into the apartment complex that we chose, and the guys really meshed pretty quickly, and we kind of like had to figure out how to be a family very quickly just by being together all the time. We're really all together all the time. And so that was really cool and really fun, but also it really helped me just being a part of like a people that love family. We're hanging around all the time, so it was kind of easy to be willing to learn these things that were challenges at the time that I didn't know how to do, for sure.
Now you are living the second half of what I would say is a mission team. Your initial show up, some of you kind of know what you're doing. A lot of you have to learn on the job. Now, a lot of those former 13, 17, a good chunk of them have moved on to other locations. And then some people have come in and filled those gaps. But now you are the senior admin. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And if you leave, you have to turn over your duties. Just like the AV Anthony Hernandez doing audio and then song leading, which, by the way, your turnover with song leading, where he starts it off and then he sat down and then you went up. I thought that was great. I thought that was like one of the greatest things that
was all him. That was his idea.
Yeah, it was great.
Brilliant, I think.
Now, this is your second week as a song leader. I noticed that you're not leading any more songs. You're sitting on the sidelines.
Still am.
You're like in the far right mic or the far left mic.
Yeah, that's where the guys normally go.
All right. Okay. It's not because you're trying to hide?
No, I would. So, I think initially I would have, on the outside looking in, that would have been my mindset. It's like, oh, this guy's trying to like, be in the back work, like participate, but not really participate. There's a few things that play into me being on the sides. One is I like singing the parts. I like singing like the different parts. When you lead the song, you don't always get to do the part, like the breakdown, either tenor or bass. And so I do like being able to implement that in some of the songs. Some of the other aspects is I don't want to be the one that's up there all the time. And I have a lot of guys that are learning how to, or actually they're just learning the songs, one, and then learning how to lead the songs. It's really challenging, I think, for a lot of them. A lot of them have no musical background or like training or experience. And I remember when I came into this, back home in Hawaii, I didn't have much experience leading songs in front of people, rather than, or not even singing in general. It's like I didn't stand in front of people. I hated being in front of people and like getting any kind of attention or big crowds. And then being a song leader, you're up there, you're in front of people, and you have this like it feels like this pressure, and like people are looking at you. They're like, they hear everything, every mistake you make, or every wrong word you say, or wrong note you hit, and it could be stressful.
Because we're talking about a mission team, and you know that your time there isn't necessarily guaranteed. Like, and they're not sending me to Utah to live my life there. I have a goal to start something. Yeah. So that means that I have to train the next person to be able to take over when I'm gone. I see that you do that with song ministry, but you wear a lot of different hats. Mm-hmm. Who's taking over admin?
Yeah, that's a great question. My hope is
well, how about this?
Somebody else.
It's not somebody who's mission team, right? It's somebody who it's somebody that you would expect to probably spend some time here. Mm-hmm. Is that the only ministry that requires some development that you could think of that you're a part of?
You're talking about the administration and song ministry?
Well, those are the two that I can think you're a part of, yeah.
Yeah, those are the only two I'm a part of that I directly influence.
Yeah, I ask it because I think there's a couple ways that mission teams can happen. So you said that, you had some developed people and you had some newcomers. And I wonder sometimes, like, and you can tell me whether you think it's a good idea. This might be just a yes or no question. I think you have a binder that says, here are all the different ministries, and here are all the different things you can do in those ministries. And here's a person to call if you have a question. And then you feel less. Is that a bad idea?
No, I think it's probably a really good idea. It's just really, it's actually, it's such a great design. I like being able to kind of know where to go. if I don't know what's going on or in whatever I'm doing. And that's probably would have helped more in admin. I felt like it's kind of thrown into the ocean in that one, learning how to swim. But yeah, I found numbers that I could contact later. But yeah, a lot of it was having to just find who to talk to at first and where I can get the help from.
Because I know of, I mean, for what it's worth, other apps or other groups that actually specialize in like, hey, you're starting a church somewhere else, you know, contact us, and they consult and they do the whole deal. As you're on your second leg, you're still on a mission trip. You're not on a mission trip anymore. And so like you've overcome the initial setup. And so like, what do you feel like your goal now is to finish out this mission trip, even if it never ends?
I think my goal for sure is one, to be able to find someone that I can transfer this to, whether that's someone who's already like a part of the church, or if that's like someone I can duplicate myself in as a disciple. It's like find somebody else to be a disciple and raise them up in another leg. So either they can take over, or I can, or somebody else in the church can already take over. I think that's one goal. I think the other goal is, for me, I think it's just to be able to do the best I can before I leave. Be able to say, hey, I gave my best effort. I gave whatever I could, whatever I had, whatever I knew. Yeah, to not be able to leave and say like, hey, that was a wreck. That was a tragedy. But yeah, just to be able to, for sure, end on a good note and be able to see this church, be able to be sustainable on its own.
Yeah, so I think, you know, when it comes to like Christianity and the good things that we do, we always feel like we have to put a happy ending. Like if 13 people came, 13 people came, 17 people came.
Yeah.
They started a church. That church is now pushing 100 people, and they're self-sustaining, and they're strong enough that they're developing new people to travel to other places and spread the gospel. But that isn't what happens, right? So what would be the one piece of advice that you wish you had prior to coming here that may have helped you avoid just unnecessary hardship?
To avoid unnecessary hardship, be humble.
Is that why you sing on the ends? You're being humble?
It definitely helps keep me humble a little bit. But
yeah, you can't brag about being humble.
I'm definitely not humble, which is why I'm suggesting I should have known that from the beginning. I should have been. I would have given myself the advice, and because I still need it now. Is like I need to just be humble. I think being in like a place of leadership is really humbling, because like, yeah, you can like take the spotlight and like, you know, hey, you're the guy, you do that, and like you're up there all the time, but like really in the back of it is like nobody sees like how many hours you're like trying to make everything work, figuring out like in terms of song ministries, like what songs will work, who can do those songs, does that song work with the people we have? No, we need to move it out. Can we learn a new song? It's like, how many hours do we need to spend for that? When is practice? When are we gonna practice? It's like, and all these little things that you kind of don't really care about when it comes to like Sunday mornings. Like everybody else just wants to like sing a song and know that it doesn't sound terrible. It's like most people are very gracious and generous in like their critiquing. It's like, as long as it sounds all right, it's like, okay, great, good job. But I think just wanting to see it look good or be its best is it takes a lot more effort, and it's like you need to like put in hours time and like be willing to like sacrifice what maybe you can do it well, what is like will everybody else do it well, and like being able to let other people do it maybe better than you even. And I think that's where I think coming into the song ministry, just asking for advice, suggestions, and help, or like, what do you think, or what should I do? I didn't do that enough when I moved out here, and it's something that like I added slowly. Because even now, I don't even feel like I do it enough, and I constantly have to pay for not getting good advice or not asking for advice, you know. So what would have saved me a lot is like just being humble, so that way God doesn't have to like throw some crazy situation at me and I'm not ready for it because I didn't come out and ask for help or something.
Yeah, this should be our last question. What is your most memorable moment so far being on this mission team?
Most memorable, that's kind of hard, because when I think about like being here, and I think of memories, like there are a few different ones that always stick out. One is when I first arrived on the plane flying in to Salt Lake City. There was snow on the mountains. I'd never seen real snow in my life. And so seeing that was really incredible. Staying up till like 10 or 11 or 12, like unpacking the moving trailer that the ministry couple brought and doing it with like all the other disciples. That was super memorable for me. Seeing like the first few baptisms and then like making really good friends like out of those baptisms, still super memorable. And then even we did like a cabin trip a couple times. Those are probably like some of the coolest things we did after a year or so being here in Salt Lake City. I would say those were some of the most memorable. There's some like very scarring memories I have too from being out here, that aren't necessarily like good memories, but still super memorable. It's like, probably can't say I would have had a similar memory in Hawaii if I didn't move out here. So even those, like, still really grateful for.
Even being grateful for the challenges, I mean, because otherwise you don't grow, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Matt. That's it. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Do you have anything that you want to throw out?
Anything that I want to throw out?
Was there a question you were hoping I was going to ask?
Not, I don't think so. But this is like tailored towards individuals who are maybe new to the church.
No. So that's a good question. So, I mean, I don't imagine that a lot of people, I imagine if somebody got baptized already, then they may be interested, especially if they're being asked to go on a mission team. But my goal isn't so much to look for new people who know nothing about the church, but maybe to balance just all the hatred that might be out there on YouTube and all the wrong thought processes.
Right.
So just to have something balanced and neutral, something that isn't propaganda, something that isn't like, I'm not trying to say that, like, you know, people's bad experiences, those are wrong, but it's not all, we're not all drinking Kool-Aid and you know, and people putting in a lot of work.
Yeah. I think if there was something I were to say to like, just to, I guess, show not like the all goody good stuff, is dude, being a disciple is real. It's super challenging, and there are times where I wanted to just be in the motion of things and in a sense drink the Kool-Aid without having to think. Because I feel like if you don't have to think on your own, it's like just drink some Kool-Aid. It's a lot easier to just get by or like continue moving forward. But yeah, there's so many like really real situations, really tough times. It's like, and I just, every time I think of moments where either life gave me some like awful situation, or I felt like I was dealt a bad hand, or it's like it was rigged or unfair. The only thing that really like helped me in my sanity and my mentality and being able to still love God is to reconnect back to like the situation and trying to remember, okay, is like God trying to teach me something, or is there something that maybe I could have done better? Or I think when I finally humbled out to maybe I need to take a step back from the way I'm thinking right now and just try to remember, okay, God's still in control. God is still God, regardless of the situation. And he'll be there the same as he was before I was a disciple and after I'm a disciple. So if he could take care of me then, he can take care of me now. And just remembering, like, I could have been bitter for a lot of situations, both with like those who were in leadership or my relationship at the time I was dating, or with like brothers I lived with, or like, yeah, just like so many different crazy situations. I feel like could have all been bad to the point where I was like, I don't care about God anymore. But I think it always just went back to is like, okay, am I gonna choose to walk away from God? Because God's not gonna abandon me, even though it feels like it sometimes. But I'm grateful for those times where maybe he just wouldn't respond or wouldn't reply, because for sure, either I wasn't ready for what could have come after that, or it would have been worse if he didn't throw some kind of like problem in there to cause like either a rift or a separation or like a reset. But yeah, hindsight's 2020. I can't see that in the moment for sure. I don't think any of us really can. So
No, but I think what ends up happening is you have a situation where you're asked to do a lot, and at the
true, yeah,
moment you feel
sure,
it and you
yeah,
do it. And some people maybe like where you're at and you say, okay, I've come out stronger, but others decide that they're not going to stick around and deal with the hardship,
yeah,
and the blame and the frustration lands on the church.
yeah,
And in
yeah,
some ways that's a fair assessment, because you were doing it for the church, but then you can also ask, were you doing it for church or were you doing it for God?
yeah,
And so, that's kind of, again, balanced, right? So there's no good, there's no bad. I mean, there is good and there is bad, so both is
yeah.
true.
One thing I do take to heart for sure is um, Jesus came to seek and save the lost, and the church is a house of like messed up people.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that, not that they're like, I know that there's like they're not trying their best. I genuinely feel safer, and I can rely on the people in our church more than I can with like friends outside of the church. But still, people I know, that's not Jesus. You're not Jesus. I'm not Jesus. And so, like with that in mind, it helps me to just remember is like I'm gonna get screwed over for things I think I'm doing for God, or things it's like somebody asked me to do something. It's like I do it to the best of my ability. It came out of my pocket, and maybe I was promised to get some money or not, whatever. But I might get screwed up. Maybe they're having a bad day, and then like they're just not willing to hold their word. I was like, yeah, it could totally happen. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's like, who am I doing this for? It hurts the most when I do it for people. It doesn't hurt so long or as bad. If I remember, I'm just doing it for God. It's like, oh, okay, well, amen. Or sometimes I just say no, and I'm having a bad day. I'm like, no, I don't want to help. to be completely honest, sometimes.
No, that's great. Well, that's it, brother.
Cool.
Appreciate it.